amid growing calls for property tax reform. But critics say this won't give taxpayers the relief they want.
Plus, a state court rules Athens' plastic bag ban unconstitutional in the latest installment in the city's legal battle.
And
these deaths are caused by the climate crisis.
Advocates in Texas are calling for accountability as recovery efforts continue after deadly floods. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Herner.
And I'm Abigail Semple. Welcome to Newswatch.
We've had quite the rainy weekend here, but it looks like sunny skies are finally back.
That's right, Josh. For a closer look at tonight's weather, let's hear from forecaster Steve Netlick. Steve?
Hey guys, we've had an absolutely beautiful day so far, and it's really not going to change as we head into tonight. As the radar shows, really nothing happening. Maybe down south we got a few showers popping up, but we're definitely going to stay dry here. And we've definitely gotten a little bit of a relief from that humidity because that cold front came through overnight. And so these 80-degree temperatures really do feel kind of quite nice after we've been dealing with so much humidity. And then as we get into tonight, we're finally going to get an overnight low in the 50s for the first time in what feels like forever because we don't have that humidity holding in some of that warmth and we don't have any of those clouds. So it's going to be a really crispy overnight feel. And then as we look into the rest of the week, the rain's going to stay away, so we can really count on that because we just had so much rain so far over the past week. And then partly cloudy skies are going to be the name of the game over the next few days, but we do have a bit of a heat wave that's going to move into our area. So we're going to be watching that as we head into the next 3 or 4 days because temperatures are really going to start to soar, especially with that humidity. So stay tuned for my full forecast where we break that down.
Thank you, Steve. The Ohio House overrides one of Governor Mike DeWine's vetoes.
In a 61-28 vote, the House reinstated Item 66, a proposal limiting the kinds of levies school districts can pass. If the Senate also overrides this veto, schools would no longer be allowed to pass replacement and emergency levies.
In his original veto message, Governor DeWine said he worried these proposals to lower property taxes wouldn't give schools enough time to adjust. Supporters say overriding the veto gives homeowners more power over the levies passed in their district, while opponents say it will only hurt schools.
We want you to keep more of your money, and then you have the power to decide how much should my local fire department get? How much should my school be receiving? That is what Item 66 does.
Tying their hands from doing emergency levies when they are on fiscal watch in an emergency is not just bad for the students in those schools and their families, it's bad policy. It doesn't make any sense. It's fiscally irresponsible.
The House did not vote on DeWine's vetoes concerning counties' ability to reduce levies or how the effective tax rate is calculated. Lawmakers will meet again on Thursday.
The Senate has yet to schedule its own meeting to discuss the governor's vetoes. They have until December of next year, when the legislative session ends, to make a final decision.
A state appeals court rules Athens' plastic bag ban is unconstitutional. The court said the ban violates a state law allowing people to choose which bag they use in stores. The city argued the state law violates home rule, a legal provision allowing local governments to pass their own rules as long as they don't go against Senate laws. Last year, an Athens County judge ruled the city's ban could not be enforced. The city is still deciding whether to appeal the case to the Ohio Supreme Court. The suspect in a Meigs County arson case is facing a minimum of 5 years in prison. A press release from the Pomeroy Fire Department says Nicholas Sprouse pled guilty to 1 count of arson, which is a second-degree felony. Back in April 2024, a fire broke out in a single-family home in Pomeroy. After investigating, officials decided the fire was set on purpose and saw surveillance footage of Sprouse leaving the residence as the fire started. The Meigs County Court sentenced Sprouse to 5 to 7.5 years.
Nearly 70% of Ohio fire departments are volunteer, but they have been fighting for a recruitment battle for decades. One department, the Ames-Burn Volunteer Fire Department, celebrated their 75th anniversary this weekend with their annual Firemen Festival. Reporter Charlie Elenfield has the story.
Whether it was 1950 or 2025, Amesville and surrounding township residents have been able to count on their volunteer fire department. And for 75 years, the community has come together to support their department. The Amesville Fireman Festival began as a way to raise money for the department.
Started to raise money to buy some helmets and fire coats and operate the fire department off.
But over the years, it's been harder for the festival to completely support the department.
We make a little money, don't get us wrong, but it wouldn't fund our fire department with today's prices.
The job has become harder too. The department is already on pace for a record number of runs this year, something Fire Chief Brad Maxwell chalks up to their wide range of calls.
When we rescued the first proverbial cat in the tree, that opened us up to be called for everything.
And volunteer departments like Amesville find themselves responding to that increase in calls with less manpower. Between 1984 and 2020, the number of volunteer firefighters in the U.S. fell by 220,850, while the population grew by 95 million. In that same time period, the Amesburn Volunteer Fire Department saw its numbers fall from about 40 to 10. Adding to the pressure, smaller departments mean more mutual aid calls, stretching their ability to provide protection.
That's when you worry if you're out on a mutual aid call, did I leave enough guys at home to take care of my home area?
But despite these challenges, the department is still bringing the community together.
I feel like a lot of it is a family reunion type thing, because they don't live here, so they get to come back once a year and see their friends.
Witham was at the very first Fireman Festival, and both her son and father served in the department. Her son also served as fire chief. She said the department has connected generations of Amesville residents.
There's quite a conglomeration of men who have been fire chiefs, and a lot of them that's been just on the fire department, as volunteer. It's strictly volunteer.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld in Amesville.
13 people were arrested after a protest on the Roblin Suspension Bridge between Cincinnati and Kentucky. 2 journalists working for a Cincinnati paper were among those arrested. The protest was in response to a Muslim chaplain at a Cincinnati hospital being detained during a routine check-in with immigration officials. In a statement, the Covington Police Department said they are conducting an internal investigation to determine if any misconduct occurred during the protest. The department said they issued warnings before arresting people who failed to comply with official orders.
President Donald Trump is pressuring 2 professional sports teams to change their names. In a social media post yesterday, the president said the NFL's Washington Commanders should go back to being called the Washington Redskins, and baseball's Cleveland Guardians should change their name back to the Cleveland Indians. Both teams changed their names years ago because their names were considered offensive to Native Americans. In his post, Trump said Native Americans support his position. A federal judge hears oral arguments for 2 lawsuits as the months-long legal battle between Harvard University and the Trump administration comes to a head. The cases challenge the government's freezing of billions of dollars of university funding. President Trump argues the school's DEI efforts are discriminatory and that its handling of pro-Palestinian demonstrations was harmful to Jewish students. Harvard's lawsuit alleges freezing the funds, quote, has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. The school argues Trump really wants, quote, control over its academic enterprise. The second lawsuit is from a faculty group and makes similar arguments.
2 weeks after a devastating flood left more than 130 people dead in Central Texas, there are growing calls for accountability. Lee Waldman has the latest on next steps and recovery efforts.
Search efforts are continuing in the Texas Hill Country following the deadly July 4th flood. In hard-hit Kerr County, where at least 107 people have died, officials have revised the number of people still missing from 97 to 3 Saturday. The drastic decrease comes after many of the people initially reported missing were found safely, according to a release from the city of Kerrville.
We are coming to the near completion of the search and rescue phase. That's phase 1. Then we get to the recovery stage. And where we are, folks, is we're getting ready to start the recovery stage.
In a special commissioners court meeting, Kerr County engineer Charlie Hastings told commissioners the conditions made survival nearly impossible in some areas.
Our model is showing heights of 40 feet, and we already know from talking to people 55 feet on some parts of the river. You can't live through that. Yep. It was a tsunami. It was an inland tsunami.
While local officials work to address concerns, Governor Greg Abbott has called a special session for the Texas legislature to address items like improving early warning systems for flood-prone areas, providing relief funding, and strengthening emergency communications. Before the special session started, Texas Democrats and activists came together to draw attention to the tragedy and the role they believe the changing climate played.
This isn't just happening in Texas. North Carolina, New Mexico, and New Jersey have recently experienced unprecedented 1,000-year floods, and these deaths are caused by the climate crisis.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
Roughly 700 Marines are being sent home from Los Angeles. They were sent out last month to respond to protests in Los Angeles. Last week, 2,000 California National Guard members were also released. About 2,000 California Army National Guard soldiers are still assigned to the mission. Coming up, between frustrating delays and crowded flights, summer travel can be a major headache. But there are things you can do to make your vacation a breeze.
The rain has moved out, but a heat wave is building. Find out when the temperatures will rise next.
I'm Talia Milwich reporting live in MacArthur at the Vinton County Fair. This year's fair is packed with events for all ages, so stick around to see what's in store.
CasualWorks was not designed, created, or maintained by people who studied disability. They're people who studied opportunity. If a person has very limited movement and can make little teeny circles, there's a place for you. The idea of workers contorting themselves to a job is one business model. Our business model is that the job responds to the worker.
PBS viewers believe that businesses that sponsor PBS on WOUB Public Television have a commitment to quality and excellence. Sponsoring a PBS television program offers your business a unique opportunity to connect with a highly engaged, loyal, and trustful audience in a clutter-free environment, leading to increased brand awareness, positive perception, and potential for higher customer engagement. Your sponsorship is important to the community, and the rewards come back to you in the form of loyal customers. Align your organization with America's most trusted news and public affairs network. WOUB Public Television is worthy of your trust. Contact Corporate Support Director Kathy Malesic at 740-593-4909 or online at woub.org/support.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
The Vinton County Junior Fair is back in town.
The fair opened with a presentation by Vinton County High School's band and choir, followed by rides and activities taking place throughout the rest of the week. Reporter Talia Milwich is live at the fairgrounds with more on how this year's fair is giving students hands-on experience. Talia?
Josh and Abigail, community members of all ages, came out to celebrate summer at this year's fair. Vinton County's Junior Fair includes activities like pig and rabbit shows. These events are put on by local students. Many students part of organizations like FFA and 4-H take part in planning and putting on the events at the fair. Some have been working on their projects since as early as last December, like the swine show, where students compete to see who has the best trained pig. After a rough summer for the county, many came out to have fun with their family and friends. But if you hadn't had the chance to miss the fair yet, there's still plenty of time. If you have young kids, you might want to stop in on Thursday when kids under 12 get in free. And if you're an animal lover, you can come out any day this week for the All-American Petting Zoo from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Reporting live in Vinton County, I'm Talia Milowich.
This sounds like a very fun event. What do you think the weather will be like? Do you think that they will be able to enjoy?
They picked a perfect time to do it because we got all that rain out last night, and it looks like we're going to have a perfect week for a county fair.
So in terms of the mud, though, on property, do we think that could be high, and that, could that cause some people to wear some boots to the fair?
Definitely. That would for sure be a good idea because we just had so much rainfall last night. So that'd definitely be a good idea. But it'll slowly dry out as we have all that sun that we're looking at, especially right now with that radar being as clear as we can see it right now. So if we take a look now at the temperatures, we're pretty perfect out there. Low 80s, high 70s, and there's not a lot of humidity going on because it's trapped right where it should be, down in the south on the coastal parts of this country. That's where you'd expect all that humidity, and it hasn't been able to run back up here and make our heat indexes, feel a lot higher than what we were experiencing last week. Now again, like I said, the radar pretty clear right now, except for a little disturbances down in the south, but we're pretty dry right now, so perfect for that county fair. So we have that break in place, and then the humidity is going to slowly start to pull up from the south. So we can't get too lucky for too long. We just have to enjoy this weather like the way it is right now, because we do have a heat wave that's building throughout the middle of the week. And that's just because we had this cold front now just move through, and that's why we're experiencing all this nice air, this comfortable weather. But this system is not going to last for long, as we have an area of high pressure that's slowly going to start pulling that humidity up. But for tomorrow, we're still pretty good. We're going to be dealing with another day, kind of like today, really comfortable weather outside. So we need to take advantage of these next 2 days, because once we get to Wednesday, that's when we start to see this really set up, and we get, again, a little bit of a heat dome going on with what we were dealing with about a month ago at this time, and it's going to start pulling that humidity up. We're going to get a lot of sunshine, and it's going to push that heat index close to the triple digits by the middle of the week. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of really warm weather, and that can be seen by our heat index outlook. Next 6 to 10 days, we're way above average. And average this time of year is pretty high just on its own, mid to upper 80s. We're going to be running way above that for about 3 days. But as for tonight, it's going to be pretty perfect. Low of 59, and I can't even really remember the last time we were below 60. So crack those windows open tonight, because it could be a perfect night to catch some Z's, because it's going to be beautiful out there. Tomorrow, much of the same. Sunny skies, really no clouds in the area. So these next 2 days are going to be beautiful. And then once we look into the 7-day, that's where it gets kind of interesting. We have about 3 different kind of stories going on. The first 2 days, beautiful weather, and then Wednesday through Friday is when we really start to see the air temperature bump up. But with that, we're getting a lot of humidity pulled into the area too. And then once we get to the weekend is where we start to see the chance for rain come back in. So again, with all the rain we've already had 10 inches of rain so far this month, and that's double the average. We're going to get even more once we get to the weekend. So it's going to slowly taper off our temperatures and give us a little bit of relief from that heat that we're going to experience. But it's going to return next Monday. So we have a lot of stuff going on this week. So make sure you're prepared for anything. Bring your sunscreen, bring your boots, bring your rain jacket, because it's going to be a very interesting weekend.
Visceral fat has shown to increase all major chronic diseases.
Next on Newswatch, stomach fat can pose a risk to your health, but there are small habits you can include in your routine to help get rid of it.
We'll be right back after the break, but in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and X to stay up to date on the latest news in Southeast Ohio.
Samuel wants to date, leave home, go to college. Yet every rite of passage is fraught with challenges. Can a community of disability activists help him follow his dreams?
My life can be complicated, but I'm willing to take risks to live a full life, a fun life, a good life.
The ride ahead on POV.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
Feel the wonder wherever we are.
It was kind of a moment of enlightenment.
So come get lost with me. We'll see the great unknown.
It's home to me. Wow, that's beautiful.
We could be the greatest story ever told.
When we all work together, we make change. I still believe in that.
I'm excited. You my hero, you know that, right?
Thank you.
most people believe that doctors are healers.
Love is why we're here.
Life goes fast,
Our story is everyone's story.
but it's just the start.
Summer travel can be expensive, but if you time it right, your vacation doesn't have to be a bank breaker. If you want to save money, you might want to hold off on a vacation and travel during the off seasons. The average price for a night's stay can drop by as much as 50% when visiting during quieter travel months in spring and fall. But if you're dead set on a summer getaway, experts say to be mindful of the weather.
Insurance doesn't always cover severe weather. For example, it typically doesn't cover a hurricane once it's been named.
You can also sign up for flight alerts, which notify you when airfare prices drop. From air traffic controller shortages to runway construction and the unpredictability of summer storms, if you're looking to go on your summer getaway, you may face some major headaches. Michael Yoshida spoke with an expert on what to do when your departure time is up in the air.
Any small disruption can lead to a cascade of delays and cancellations, so we spoke with experts to learn some of the tips and tricks to best handle these travel troubles.
It's definitely been a summer of delays and cancellations and a lot of grumpiness.
From bad weather to staffing problems to computer outages and more, airlines have faced some turbulence this summer.
So all of this just compounds and creates a heap of problems.
Travel writer Andrea Sachs says if your flight's delayed when you're trying to get away, remember these things. Beware of the creeping delay, a flight that keeps getting pushed later and later and then eventually gets canceled. As soon as you see or hear about there being a potential problem, investigate the cause. Is it weather, mechanical, or something else? And where is your plane? Is it in the air or still sitting at another airport?
Then you know whether you could just sit tight and wait, or you need to jump in and start advocating for yourself.
Create a backup plan ASAP. Don't wait for more alerts or to be rebooked automatically. Use your airline's app or other travel apps to find other flight options, even less direct ones that still get you close to your destination. Also, when trying to rebook or get help, use every form of communication, in person at the gate, through the app, on the phone, or even through social media to make sure you're heard and addressed. And know what you want. Be prepared with possible options and be aware of code share agreements or partnerships your carrier may have with other airlines.
You need to help yourself a little bit to give them some guidance. And it's okay, stand up for yourself.
And a few other tips. If you can, book a direct flight earlier in the day before heat and storms are able to build up. Also, those we spoke with say if you can, book a higher priced or a higher class ticket. They say those will oftentimes be prioritized by airlines if something does happen to your flight. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Visceral fat or stomach fat can be hard to lose, but it can increase your risk of disease like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. It can also trigger inflammation, but experts say there are plenty of ways you can lose stomach fat in a healthy way. You could start by increasing your movement.
If we're sitting at a desk all day and we're only doing 30 minutes of exercise, but we're doing it every day, it's still really not enough for most people.
You can work movement into your workday by using a walking desk, parking farther away from your office, and taking the stairs. Besides exercise, cleaning up your diet can also help you lose weight. Experts recommend eating more whole foods like lean sources of protein and fresh produce. Still ahead, the Hot Box crowns the 2025 Hottest Box champion. Stay tuned to hear how competitors were feeling the heat.
We'll be right back, but here's a look at what's coming up next on WOUB.
on Masterpiece Mystery.
Welcome to CC's Boutique. We can't open on Saturday. We have to adapt. We need you.
Well, I've always wanted to do fashion.
Diamond theft on Market Street, valued at over £3,000.
Have you thought any more about your mum's letter? You might be able to find her.
No, we won't. Grantchester, on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
For some of us, the struggle never ends.
I know he's not easy to work with, but now I need you to step up.
You're not looking for one killer, but two.
You don't believe that a death can be transformational?
We're probably dealing with a psychopath.
We have to catch who's behind this.
You should have called me. I did. Yes, you did. I must have ignored it.
You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough.
This is our chance to prove ourselves.
Here's to possibilities.
Well, then we best get started.
There's much about me that you don't know.
You're persistent, I'll give you that. You have been busy.
Justice never sleeps.
Every time I see you, there are more of you. And we're even more successful.
You are many things. You're not boring.
Let's not get carried away. We are going to do this together. I'm really impressed.
We're looking for 3 tons of gold. It's murder. We have a match.
Probably just coincidence.
Nope.
There's never a dull moment.
The results are in. The 2025 Hottest Box champion is, drumroll please, Dakota Saul from Nelsonville.
Friday, Hotbox Chicken and Tots held their first Hottest Box contest inspired by the viral Hot Ones Challenge. Participants were tasked with eating 11 chicken tenders with increasingly spicy hot sauces.
All proceeds from the event go toward a scholarship fund for all 5 Athens high schools.
If you were following along at home, Josh actually competed and predicted how he'd do. Let's take a look at what he said.
So, Josh, how many do you think you've got in you?
You know, guys, it'll all depend when I get to about 9 or 10, and if I'm feeling the heat, I don't know if I got it in me. But if things go smooth, hopefully we're able to get them all down.
Well, I did in fact not get all of them down, guys.
You tried your best. You got to 9 or 10, and you gave it your all, man.
You know, I got that last one right in front of me, and it was a one-on-one, like everything you'd want. Like, you know, either you eat the chicken tender or you go home. And as you can tell, there's no trophy here sitting in front of us.
Man, I watched the video and I was really rooting for you. So you did well, Josh.
Thank you, Abigail. You know, next time we're gonna get that Hot Ones challenge.
You got to go for it.
There's always next year, right,
There
Steve?
is.
Now, in terms of what the weather's looking like this weekend, you know, hopefully we're going to get some over the next few days. I know the Vinton County Fair is a big deal in this area, and, you know, hopefully we have some good weather for that.
We're actually looking pretty beautiful for this week, especially as for tonight. It's going to be the first time in a while that we get into the 50s, so it's going to be a picture-perfect night if you need to walk off some chicken tenders. As we head into the rest of the week, we're going to be looking pretty beautiful until we get to about Wednesday, and then the heat's going to start to build back in. So we may have a heat advisory come our way on about Thursday, and then the storms are going to roll back in on Friday, leaving for a possibly rainy weekend. But overall, we're going to be a few degrees above average, and then the sun is going to return on Monday. So all in all, we have a mixed bag this week. We have beautiful weather to start, some really warm weather in the middle, and then we have some stormy weather that's going to head our way once we get to the weekend.
Well, Steve, hopefully there's enough warm weather to where we can walk off our chicken tenders. I know I'm still walking off all the 9 I ate, but that's going to do it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick, I'm Josh Herner.
And I'm Abigail Semple. Stay tuned for PBS NewsHour. Coming up next. Have a great evening.